long form page split test. So this is something to know. So, one of the things when I first got started online, the goal was to cram everything above the fold. Everything. Put it all above the fold because nobody scrolls. So shorter pages are better. Have that call to action button above the fold. Don't have long pages. Have banner sliders so that there's images that slide and rotate so that people can see more in one little spot. Well, we've gone mobile, we've gone touch, meaning more of the internet is consumed from touch-based devices like iPads and phones. More of the digital world is consumed that way. In fact, 70% of the digital world is consumed that way. So, and that changes the way people consume. People scroll on touch-based devices in a way that they didn't scroll on desktops. And so with that being the case, we thought, well, maybe, longer form pages, right? Instagram, just never-ending scrolling. Facebook, never-ending scrolling. So maybe long pages aren't a bad thing. And this is what our page used to look like, really short, right? All above the fold. So we ran a split test to see what happens if we add long-form content to this page and have long-form left-right design like Apple. So here's what the page looks like now. Like this. So what's going to win? This? Well, now this is zoomed out again, but because obviously this page won, but it was like this or this, okay? And let's take a look at it. So I use Google Analytics experiments to run all of my split tests, and in fact to track all of my data for everything. Everything goes into Google Analytics, and I highly recommend that you do that because then you have one place that has all of your data. You're not going through multiple dashboards and things. So I love Google Analytics, and it tracks all of our reporting and all of our everything. We use it for everything. So I love the experiments here. It's essentially Visual Website Optimizer, Optimizely. It's all these split testing softwares, but it all just exists right inside of Google Analytics here, which is great. Now, the downside is you have to actually create the pages, right? So I had to create a page like this, and I had to create a page like this, and put them into Google Analytics. Whereas with Visual Website Optimizer, you can actually modify a page, and then it'll you can do fancy stuff. But if you're willing to create your own pages, then it's good. So original was the short version, and the variation was the long version. Now you can see they both had about 1,000 visits, about 100 transactions on each one. And interestingly, the conversion rate was quite literally the exact same, 9.69 and 9.68, right? So I don't know if you can see that. It might be a little too small, but basically I'll zoom it in here a little bit. Now the conversion rate was the exact same. Now you might think, okay, well, the longer form page doesn't help us at all. Well, when we look over here at the e-commerce stats, we see a very different picture. What we see is that the longer form page had the same conversion rate, but the average order value is $5 higher, which has our per session value be nearly 50 cents higher, 50 cents more per visitor, $5 more per order on this longer form page. The only thing we changed was adding long form left-right content, Apple style, right? Image, headline, bullet points, headline, bullet points, image, add to cart buttons down the bottom. Now what happened, interestingly, is people consumed more content about the product and therefore ordered bigger sizes more often. So really, really fascinating that sometimes it's not about the conversion rate. Sometimes it's about how much money are you making. This one actually converted a little bit worse by 0.01%, but it produced far more money, $8,000 instead of $6,700 for essentially the same amount of traffic. So that's kind of cool. Cool for you guys to know about that. Now, Steve Westmoreland wants to know exactly how we're using Google Analytics. That will be in the one-stop shop course. Setting up Google Analytics is a whole thing, and the training is included in the one-stop shop course. And sometime after the course, we might pull that out and stick it in the community. But for now, it's for that particular course. But there's so many. I mean, there's just a ton of resources on YouTube for Google Analytics stuff.